Radha Ramana Hari Govind Jai Jai.
I want to say something about practice, like introducing the idea of practice. Bhakti yoga is not just a belief. Many people, they subscribe to religion. For example, many people think that Jesus Christ, He's our Savior, He's the Son of God, He died for our sins. So whatever I've done and whatever I'm going to do, I just have to believe that Jesus will save me and everything's fine. And I'll go to heaven when I die. This is a belief. And it doesn't necessarily involve the individual actually practicing. But then again, of course, many Christians understand that Christianity means that they want to love God, we want to love God, and they're practicing in order to become pure and in order to attain love for God, and they're serving Christ also. So that's like yoga. Yoga, bhakti yoga, it's a practice which enables us to realize our true spiritual nature. And that true spiritual nature is in relationship. Like here in the material world, how do we know who we are? Before we come to devotional service, you've got a Christian name, or first name and a surname, family name. So you know who you are, the name of this body, and then the family context that you're in, and the country, and so on. So it's always in context, it's always in relationship. So our real spiritual identity, we realize in relationship with the Supreme Lord, the Supreme Spirit. And what is that relationship? It's a relationship of loving devotional service. Love. We want love. We're looking for love here. It's not working too well. Somewhat, not too well. So we understand that real love, that's love for Krishna. And love means not just love and affection. Love and affection is important. Love means service. Like a mother serving the child, looking after the child. So she has affection for the child, but she's also looking after the child. Child's hungry, she feeds it. Child's dirty, she washes it. Child's getting into difficulty, she looks after it, protects it, and so on. So there's both love and affection. A devotional service means, yes, developing moods of affection towards Krishna, towards Mahaprabhu, towards Guru, towards all our acharyas, towards devotees. Affection, yes, but service also, practical service. So, why should we practice Bhakti Yoga? Why should we engage in service? It's our fundamental nature. Service is our nature. Like everybody is serving. From the beginning, the baby is serving the parent, because the parent's also serving the child. But once the child grows up to the point where it can take responsibility a little, then it's serving the parent. Like, you pass stool and urine in this place, not all over the place. Simple things. Stop talking. Do this. Don't do that. Then growing up a bit more, serving the rest of the family members, serving the teachers, serving the taxman, serving the policeman, serving the army officers when he gets called up, so on and so on. Serving. So everybody's serving. It's our nature to serve. It can't be taken away from us. We're always serving. Either we're serving other people, we're serving our senses, we're serving our mind. And we're not satisfied. So service is our nature, and it's what sustains us. It's what brings us food, shelter, love, identity, sense of purpose, work, everything. Service. So it's our fundamental nature. That's why we're practicing Bhakti Yoga, service. It's not just a means to an end. In Jaiva Dharma, Thakur Bhaktivinoda explains that there's different types of activity to get to different kinds of goals. In this material world, there's three basic goals that people want. One is material enjoyment and control. This is one thing. And to get that, then people work. The financiers, they're working, making money. Laborer, he's building. And the yogis, they also want enjoyment and mastery on a subtle platform. They're also working, but on a subtle platform. They're working to control the body, control the life airs, and dissociate the soul from the life airs. But they're also working. And the idea is to get enjoyment. When they've achieved what they want to get, they stop working. So the work itself is not the end, it's the means to an end. But the problem with this work is that the results are temporary, and the work itself is troublesome. Yoga is troublesome. Digging holes is troublesome. Building skyscrapers is troublesome. Why are people stressed out? Why the work is stressed out? Because it's troublesome. The work is troublesome. So, somebody may understand that this is not a very good engagement. I should understand that actually I'm not this body, but I'm spirit. I should understand the difference between spirit and matter, and I should get spiritual realization and become liberated from this material world of birth and death. Because there's no birth and death for spirit. So this would be a better engagement, and then he cultivates jnana, knowledge. So then there's yoga of knowledge. So cultivating knowledge and meditating on the inconceivable, indescribable, quality-less nature of spirit, this is also hard work. It's very hard work. I've done it. And it's very difficult. When somebody has attained liberation, or thinks that they've attained liberation, then they stop doing what they were doing. And they enjoy the liberation. So liberation is also a selfish goal. And it's also temporary. Because Thakur Bhaktivinoda explains that when you become liberated, that's an event. So at first you're conditioned, then you're liberated. So it means that it's not an eternal state. It's just the cessation of a material state. So again, mukti is also not a very, finally, it's not a useful goal. It's temporary, it's hard work to get there. There's every chance of falling down from that state. And the happiness of mukti is way less than the happiness of loving service to the Supreme. How do we know? We see great devotees who are attracted towards the Supreme from a liberated state, like, for example, Shukadeva Goswami. Shukadeva Goswami is completely detached from material things. When he left home, his father was chasing after him, saying, "Oh, my son, my son, my son." He just walked on. There was a lake with ladies bathing without any clothes. And he walked past. They didn't bother about him at all. He was walking naked. Young boy, 15, 16, extremely beautiful. And his father was following after. His father is the incarnation of Godhead. And when the young women saw the father coming, they put on their clothes. So he asked them, "What's this? My son is walking past naked and you didn't pay any attention. And I'm coming by." So they said, "We understand, you're a householder, you have to make distinction between male and female." He made no distinction at all. But he was attracted from, he was a monist. He was absorbed in liberation, liberated state. And he was attracted by a description of the beautiful qualities, the beautiful appearance and then the beautiful qualities of Krishna. Four Kumars also, great sages. They're wandering, they decided, they were sons of Brahma. And Brahma wanted them to get married and have children. And they said, "No, we don't want to get married, we don't want to get engaged in family life." So they remained as like little 4 or 5-year-old boys, completely naked. So there's no sex desire. And they remain like this. They're the oldest sages in the universe. So they were also impersonalists. But Brahma, he was very concerned. So the Hamsa Avatar, Krishna came and preached to them. And then after that they went to the spiritual world. And when they met with Narayan, smelt the saffron and the tulsi on his lotus feet, then they became attracted to devotional service. So mukti also, it's less than the happiness and satisfaction of mukti. It's less than the happiness and satisfaction of bhakti. So bhakti, this is the process that awakens our original nature. Because it's an eternal process, because it's original and natural, then one doesn't stop it when he gets to the goal. Bhakti itself is the goal. In the spiritual world, everyone is totally absorbed in bhakti to Krishna. But the difference between their bhakti and our bhakti is that we're struggling to do it. And with them, it's a completely natural, spontaneous expression of their real nature. They don't have to try at all. They would have to try to stop it, and they couldn't. We're the other way around. So, bhakti yoga consists of activities which we will practice in the perfect state, but the consciousness will be different. In the spiritual world, they're offering arti, they're offering food to Krishna, but they're doing it in their spiritual body, their original spiritual body, naturally, and we're doing it in our material body. So the purpose, as we practice, so we realize our pure nature more and more. It's not that we're doing it to get something else. Like somebody might dance for the sake of winning a contest, or sing for the sake of winning a contest. And somebody else is just dancing and singing because they love dancing and singing. So bhakti is like that. There's no final goal, and when you've got the goal, then you'll stop dancing and singing, or stop practicing bhakti. The love is the goal. So what are the processes of bhakti? When Hiranyakashipu, he was a great demon, and he had a very wonderful son called Prahlad Maharaj. So Hiranyakashipu, as far as he knew, Prahlad had never had anything to do with devotees, because he was born within the palace and he'd never met devotees. So one day Hiranyakashipu, he called Prahlad, put him on his lap, smelt his head. His greatest demon, so ferocious against other people, but with his son he was very, very affectionate. Tears are flowing down his cheeks. Oh, Prahlad, Prahlad. Tell me what you've been learning at school. What's the best of what you've been learning at school? So Prahlad says, Shravanam Kirtanam Vishnu Smarana Padasevanam Bandhan Marchan Sakyam Atmani Vednam. 9 processes of devotional service. Hearing about Vishnu, chanting the glories of Vishnu, remembering Shri Vishnu, worshipping him in the temple, offering him prayers, befriending him, serving his lotus feet, and offering one's full self to him. So Vishnu is a great enemy of Hiranyakashipu. He's thinking. Sworn enemy. He wanted to kill Vishnu. And when he heard Prahlad Maharaj say this, he became so angry. In the end, he tried to kill Prahlad Maharaj, and Nrsingadev came. Krishna himself came as Nrsingadev and taught Hiranyakashipu. So these 9 processes of bhakti, this is the basis. One of our great teachers, Srila Rupa Goswami, direct follower, disciple of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and the main teacher in our line. So he's expanded these 9 processes into 64 processes. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, when he was explaining the process of devotional service to Sri Sanatana Goswami, he explained that there's 5 main principal processes. Sadhu Sangha, Nama Kirtan, Bhagavata Shravan, Mathur Vas, Shraddha Shiva Sevan. We should associate with devotees. Chant the holy name. Hear Bhagavatam, hear the scripture from pure devotees. Live in the holy dham and worship the deity with faith. These are the 5 really essential processes. So all of these processes, they should be performed, but not just the practice, but we're practicing and we want to develop a mood of loving service to Krishna. So the result, this is basic Krishna conscious practice. We practice these main processes of devotional service, follow a lifestyle which is favorable, sattvic, and as much as possible in association with devotees. That's why it's favorable to live in the temple, because automatically there's deities are there, there's a regular program is there, association with devotees is there, prasadam is there. And it's helpful when we're living outside the temple. Like, for example, most of the time I'm traveling and staying with people who are living outside the temple, because like in Russia, for example, we don't have temples, we're just one center. So as much as possible when we're living outside the temple, then we can try and incorporate the elements of the temple lifestyle in our life so that it becomes more favorable for devotional service. And the result of this practice and the lifestyle, 2 things. One is that there'll be an increase of the mood of transcendental loving service to Krishna. And Krishna means Krishna, Krishna's devotees, Lord Chaitanya, everyone, and Gurudev. On the one hand. And on the other hand, we'll see that our material desires will also decrease. Sometimes people become alarmed. They think, if I take up Krishna consciousness, what will I enjoy? no problem. No problem. Because it's not that one has to artificially give up these things. But by getting a higher taste, we lose taste for things which are actually create problems, so much problem. So these are the two results of our Krishna conscious practice. Increase in love for Krishna and decrease in material attachments. Hare Krishna.